Hello everybody, welcome to my page Schwinn Addiction, and today I'm going to showcase Green Eyes. This is my OG 1964 Schwinn lowrider. Everything on here is Schwinn, maybe except for these sissy bars. These are repop. They're a little bit longer. I like the tailpipe look. I wanted to get them lower so they drag along the ground. This is just the fiberglass tank that I made. So you take off and put on, take off. This is a repaint my buddy did. A friend of mine did, and he repainted it. I might redo it because it looks a little bit lighter. Looks more lime. Doesn't really match the original Schwinn color, but it is real nice. I liked it until I put it up against another lime, and I could tell it was a lot lighter. I guess the original Stinger was a little bit darker. Got the speedometer, custom speedometer. I done this back in 97, 96. This is just acrylic paint, and I airbrushed Green Eyes on it and put a clear coat on it. Had some is acrylic pearl paint. Give it a little pearl finish on it. And airbrushed the Green Eyes on that. I engraved these. Actually, I engraved these right before the '97 San Diego lowrider car show. The night I took my engraver and I had the mirrors. I engraved the mirrors myself. There's an original mirror, but it broke sometime. I might just have to redo it. These are original steering wheel. At one time, this whole bike was all chromed out. I spent $500 to rechrome everything. It was a lot different. This bike went through a lot of changes. I just recently added the brake because I do on these warm wongs, but they're free wheel. And then I found this caliper adapter, a Weinman. So decided to put it underneath and kind of hide it with this. This is Schwinn. These are Schwinn calipers. All the way down to the Schwinn pedals. These are original pedals for the Super Deluxe. The large cap, they're called large caps. You got these were a lot sought after back in the 90s. I call these the drumstick. They look like a drumstick. When you had your bike low, you can use these and it won't scrape. These are Schwinn. You get these off the Schwinn Pixies and the Schwinn Little Tigers and all that. Little 16-inch, 12-inch. This is an original chain, but I might have to go with the custom. See if I can refurbish that one, or maybe just go with the chrome one. Find a chrome one for now. These are worn wongs. These are original Schwinn or lowrider tires. Bicycle ink. Made in USA. They're not the repops. I actually found these for a good price. This guy had them. He bought them for a bike. He never put them on. He just had them sitting for years. They're almost brand new. They're pretty much NOS. I cleaned them up. I had a set. It's funny because I had a set, and my storage got broken into, and they took the new bikes. Took my son's BMX, a couple BMX bikes, but they didn't touch my my lowriders or my beach cruiser. I have a black Schwinn Cruiser 5. they pulled the beach cruiser out, and then they went back in and got the other bikes. And then the next morning I found it shed open and my bike's outside and his other bike's missing. But I don't know why they took the tires, because I noticed I have a picture of them, and all of a sudden I can't find them. So I'm thinking that's when they took them at that time. This is an original Miller light. I like this light. It looks like a bullet. Opens up. Has a glass lens. This says Miller on it. I made this lens. I like this little eyelid right here. I love that look. So at one time, this bike has been through many changes. I started out with the frame. This is the first frame ever I've ever bought. When I was 14, I was working summer jobs. At the time, back in the 90s, 80s, they had a work program for kids, and you get a work permit and you go get a job. And I was 14, so I got a job as a janitor, doing janitorial stuff at this nursery. And I just go and clean and head home. There's other kids there that work there too. And so I I probably make about 300 for the whole summer, a couple hundred. I didn't make that much. I gave some money to my mom. Gave a third of it to my mom. Put a third in savings, and then a third of it in I could spend. And so I told my buddy I wanted a lowrider bike, because my grandpa, I think I got this addiction from my grandpa, because at his backyard was probably as big as this, but his backyard was just filled with bikes, like hundreds and hundreds of bikes just lined up like a bike shop. And he had some couple cars back there, like a 60s, like a 60 sedan DeVille, a Cadillac, and he had a Coupe DeVille, and he had a Pontiac Ventura, 1960 Pontiac Ventura. I think the Cadillac was 66. And I used to always just go through it and just go through the backyard, just play back there, and never thought nothing about it. And play in the cars and all that. And then finally I started getting into bikes. My buddy had a Schwinn lowrider bike, Nando. And he used to have ride on a Schwinn lowrider bike, and I thought it was pretty cool. And I used to have my BMX bikes. I always had BMX bikes. And then so I told my buddy I wanted a lowrider bike, and he's like, yeah, I know somebody who has a whole bunch of parts. And I was like, all right, cool, let's go check it out. So he's like, I got this frame, and I was like, all right, I'll take the frame. And I got the forks, and I take forks. They're cruiser forks, 26-inch, so they're a lot bigger. See, this is actually a cruiser neck, and I just put spacers in for now until I'm gonna cut it down later. But this is what actually it's cruiser. This is a cruiser steering yoke, the steering tube, and it's the same size as a Super Deluxe. Because the Super Deluxe hole is a lot bigger, and these came on the 64 cruisers, the 26-inch. And so the steering tube was the same diameter, just longer. So all you had to do is cut it down. The only difference is the height of this is just barely a little bit different, but it's pretty much the same thing. So I'm gonna cut this down to fit a 20-inch. And so he sold me the frame, he sold me the fork, and he sold me some rims, like some funky rims. I got the think I got a crank from them. I got a seat. I got pedals, like some funky pedals, some funky handlebars. I don't know. But the main thing was the frame and the fork. But I had enough to build a bike. So I rode around this funky little bike. It was all bare metal. It was bare metal, and it was just a funky little lowrider. It looked all put together. But I liked it. I loved it. It was my first bike. And I rode the streets, rode it to school, parked it at school. Didn't care what anybody said. It was like the funkiest little bike there at the school. It was all bare metal and big old fork. But this one girl, she was like, yeah, I guess her family was had a car club and all that. She's like, oh, I like your bike and all this. Started talking, and it was pretty cool. But this bike has been through many changes. I've been dealing back and forth on what I want to do with it. When I first started, of course, it was a lowrider. And I'm like, I'm gonna find, and so from there, I made it into a better lowrider. I just found better parts for it, put it together, painted it, had everything chromed. I took off the cruiser forks, and I had found these crate forks, not these ones, but something like this, at this bike shop, and he let me have them. So I had crate forks, and then I had S7 rims, just regular S7 rims. I had everything re-chromed, the S7 rims, all the spokes, hoops, everything. And back then, the whole bike only cost me $500 to chrome. So it was all pretty much a show bike. I had the bike painted at my auto body class. So I was taking auto body classes at San Bernardino Valley College. And my teacher, he's from Redlands, where I'm from, and he knew my mom, and so he helped me paint my bike. And it was a lime green, but it had a metal flake in it. And then I was like, oh, that's cool. And so I didn't have a Bondo. It was just stock. It was just stock. And so it was pretty much a show bike, and that's the show bike I took to the 97 San Diego lowrider show at Qualcomm Stadium. And you can probably see pictures. I have a couple pictures of it. And then from there, I was like, man, I wanna Bondo it. So I started sanding down the frame right here. I was gonna Bondo it, and never Bondoed it. So I just messed up the paint job, and it just never got Bondoed. So I was like, you know what? I had all these chrome parts, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna put it back to stock. So I want to make an original Super Deluxe. I want to find the original Super Deluxe forks, the original parts, the rims, seat, sissy bar. So I was like, that was my next move. So I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna put it back to stock. So I didn't put it back to stock. I found all the parts. Found the original pedals. Found the original rims. It had the blue band 2-speed kickback, the S2 in the back, and then there's a picture of it on my Instagram page. And then I had the S7 in the front. I had the Schwinn Stingray white walls. So it's pretty much resto mod. It was original parts, but it was still a lowrider. I still had the crate forks, and I found the handlebars I had were from the 70s, so they went straight up. They weren't the original wide ones like the 64. So I got rid of those and found the 64's handlebars. This is the original plate. My mom had this chrome plated for me when I had my bike club, so I always held on to this. This was back, I done painted this back in '95. And so I had all the original parts, and then I had the original seat. I had it redone. real nice white seat. And then I found the original high loop sissy bar for it. I found the original fork for it. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna put it back to stock. I'm gonna make an original bike. So I put it all back to original, and then I was like, you know what? I was like, it looks cool and all, but I was happy, but I wasn't, because this is Green Eyes. This is my first bike, so I was like, I'll keep it as original. And so I came across another frame. This guy had another frame he wanted. I had a 65 frame I found. I got in the trade. I was gonna make into a lowrider and put all these parts on the 65 frame and make a lowrider, because it was bonded in. It was bonded on the back. It was bonded up here. It was real nice. I just had to paint it. I was like, you know what? I'm not satisfied. I want Green Eyes to be the lowrider. So I traded that Bondo frame for a 64 frame that was painted green. And so all these parts, all the original parts on here went onto that other frame. And all the lowrider parts came back onto here, so she made a full circle back to lowrider custom. Got the AS. There's still some super deluxe parts. Got the AS bolts. But she's my lowrider. She's my lowrider girl, and she'll stay lowrider. She got this original teardrop. Need to find some better. I could find some better grips. I seen better grips for I could get for it. But this is my lowrider girl. My Green Eyes. Funny thing about that name is I just like Green Eyes. Had a couple girls that had green eyes that I used to hang out with. Yeah, I just like Green Eyes. There's just something about them. These are what Warren Wong wheels look like. They use the aluminum, and they're kind of, you see the hub, a real nice hub. This is the original Schwinn. This is a speedometer. This fender is off of a Fair Lady. I like the wraparound, looks like a lowrider style. Originally I had the short Stingray fender on it, but I was like, no, this looks more lowrider. The other Stingray fender looked more hot rod. But this is it. The original Schwinn. But still work in progress. I'm gonna have to re-chrome everything again, and which is gonna probably cost me like another $2,000. So I'm just getting all the parts ready. Make sure I have it complete first before I start re-chroming everything, because then I don't want to change my mind and be like, I don't like that part after all. I want something different. Which I usually do. I'm like back and forth, but that's got to be perfect. I'm a perfectionist, I guess. Thanks for stopping by. Please like and subscribe. And Schwinn Addiction out.